Good evening, everyone. It is Mr. Becker once again, and it's been a couple weeks since I've submitted one of these to you all. This is going to be the first time that you are going to get a video that is just for 1510. This is not for seniors. We're done sharing books, and this is the beginning of the end of the school year with the 3 books we have left. We'll talk more about books in a minute, but hope everybody's doing well along those lines. I don't hear any bad stories, so I'm going to pretend that everyone is doing wonderfully. You all have plenty of food and toilet paper and water. As you now know for sure, we are out again for another 2 weeks until May 15th, I think. So I do hope we come back. I would love it if we can get back together between now and the end of the school year, and we'll see how things go. There's lots of stuff to do for all of us, and I'm eager to get back into the swing of things. This is going to be a much shorter one of these wrap-ups because of the fact that we finished a book and we're about to start a new one, and all of your assignments are out. There's nothing new to give you, really. It is Sunday, so please be sure to submit your paragraph. Most are in, but there is that paragraph. Remember, we're talking about the additions to the list of people that our narrator or author don't care for in Invisible Man. There are a lot of similarities, but a couple other nice ones, and we'll talk about this week's work in a minute. But I will have a chance to talk about the different things that you folks posted. Blackboard will be back next week, so next week, not this week, we'll have questions about the things they carried. But I wanted to get some of the book done before I ask you questions. I think that's going to help. Some classroom management stuff to talk about along those lines. The reading schedule has just been posted. I sent that to you all a little bit ago on Google Classroom. So you see that per day. Those are the days that you're expected to have certain things done. And I'm going to try to, I don't have it on this slide here, I'm going to try to see if we can get some sort of live basketball shooting to see if we can get a quiz. And I have figured out how to do quizzes. It's been a while since we've done a quiz, and it's just a matter of who's willing to volunteer for some sort of basketball sort of shenanigans. I would try to get even have Bergie shooting a hockey puck on a rink, but I don't think anything's open, so I think it's going to be hoops. I don't know that we have any soccer players anymore, so we'll figure that out as we go. As I said, next week we'll do questions for Blackboard. You'll get them, so it'll be the same structure as before. Google seems to have been fixed, so if you've been paying attention, I have done a bunch of the revisions. The great news is there are very few, as a whole for the class, very few mistakes with commas and with grammar, punctuation, other things like that, spelling, which is great because that means you are all taking this assignment seriously. So there's not much to do, but of course you do want to get these things done. So I've graded a bunch of them, and then this happens to be just when Google Classroom or Google Docs went bye-bye. So I think there's a review, not a review, there is some sort of a new version of it that was pushed out by Mrs. Hinsdale, and it's supposed to work. So I emailed you all to please shut your iPads down completely. I bet some of you haven't done that in a while. So shut it down all the way and then turn it back on. If you haven't had it on for a while, turn it on, leave it on for like an hour, and then do what I asked you to do. Turn it all the way off, turn it all the way on. And typically that's when, at least on my iPad, that's when things get updated. So just to be aware of that. And as you see on here, we will be back to our Zoom meeting on Tuesday. We'll have a lot more to say about the things they carried. I do want to wrap up the things that we do for Invisible Man, specifically your paragraphs due tonight. And I think that'll be a good way to leave one book and move in to the next one. I won't say very much about this book. I'll say just a few quick things, and then we'll call it a review. We'll call it a wrap up. So it is here now. Before I move to the next slide, so we have our last three books. We've read an awful lot this year. Our last three books, not counting Ben Goldfarb, who of course is a young guy and the book just came out, but it's nonfiction. Our last three fiction authors are currently alive. Of course, I hope it stays that way, but Mr. O'Brien, along with Mr. McCarthy for our final book, they are older. I will also tell you that they aren't really active with talking to people. I don't know that Mr. O'Brien is doing a lot of reviews, interviews, or book readings. I don't know that he's had a new book come out anytime recently, but it's a great book. There's a lot of great things about it, and I think I've budgeted something like 2.5, 3 weeks for this book. I think we'll be able to get quite a bit with it. This slide right here is Tim O'Brien in Vietnam. So this is what I'm going to end with for the evening here. So I know I've said this before. This book is, I'm confident, the most profane book that we will do all year. This book, I'm confident, because it's talking about war. It's talking about all the things that happen in war. You will find, besides profanity, adult situations, lots of violence, lots of things that are awful, quite honestly. I think there's some good things too, but it is unquestionably heavy-duty stuff. Some of you have family that have served in war, have been in the military, have gone through some very difficult things. I'm aware of from years back. I almost always do a war book in my years at Panama. I'm aware of some members of the Panama community that died in Vietnam. And every now and then, perhaps some of you are related to them, because I never know exactly who's family and who's not family. The point is that I know that there are people in Panama that have suffered loss in battle. So there's an awful lot of things going on here. Respectfully, I ask that you kind of give the book the seriousness it deserves, which I'm sure you will. If the content or the language or the structure, because the book is challenging, we'll talk about that on Tuesday and beyond. But if the book ends up being something that you feel is too much, please contact me. There are a lot of things I can do. There's actually an alternate book for Tim O'Brien, because I think this author is wonderful. I think he's great. I enjoy reading him. I think you will enjoy reading him. So I do have an alternate book for Tim O'Brien, but it's pretty different. The structure is similar, which, again, we'll talk about on Tuesday. I do think students typically say this is one of their best books, or one of their favorite books we do. I'm confident most of you will feel the same way. And there are, of course, 2 books left beyond this that I again feel like you'll enjoy as well. And there's also, I think we'll do this Tuesday. It might be something for the following week. But just today I was reading something that there's a mild, it's not big, but a mild connection to right now the pandemic, the COVID-19 thing. There's a very small part of America that is actually cut off from everywhere, and it's in this book. And currently they don't have any cases of the virus. They don't expect any cases, basically because you can't go there anymore. You're not allowed to go there. And our book talks about it. So there's kind of an interesting little connection there too. So I'm done. There's about 9 minutes or so into this. I'm looking forward to seeing you all again on Tuesday, and then having some of our discussions as we get into the things they carried. I think it's a great book, and I'm really eager to see what you guys think of it. So I hope to talk to you soon. Take care. Have a great night, and we'll see you in just a couple days.